It's no secret that the Indians are the indigenous people of the United States that are gradually dying out. Today we will tell you 13 facts about the American Indians. The United States is now home to about 5 million Indians, or about 1.6% of the country's population. Most of the Indians are in the states of California, about 740,000, Oklahoma, 415,000, and Arizona, 366,000. Los Angeles is the city with the largest Native American population. The U.S. Declaration of Independence contains an extensive list of claims of American colonists against the King of Great Britain. One of them says that the king tried to incite the ruthless Indian savages on the inhabitants of our borderlands, whose recognized rules of war boil down to the destruction of people, regardless of age, gender and marital status. Indians are the indigenous inhabitants of the American continent. However, they received the rights of U.S. citizenship only in 1924, when President Calvin Coolidge signed the corresponding law. According to U.S. law, an Indian can be considered a person who has proven that one of his grandfathers or one of his grandmothers were native inhabitants of America, whose tribe lived in the modern territory of the United States. Today in the United States, there are 565 Indian tribes officially recognized by the federal authorities. For official recognition, in particular, it is required to prove that this tribe independently existed before the first contact with non-Indian peoples, that the tribe retained the structure and tradition of transferring power, has a written constitution, and modern Indians have a genetic link with people who were part of this tribe before the first contact with white people. Federal recognition of tribal status is important. Such a tribe has a special relationship with the U.S. government, meaning that all contact is made exclusively at the government level. For their designation in official correspondence, the term sovereign people of such and such tribe is used. In addition, tribes that prove that their or their ancestors' property was requisitioned by agents of the U.S. authorities receive federal subsidies and grants. The U.S. government recognizes the rights of these tribes to self-rule, self-determination, and upholds their sovereignty. Sovereign nations have the right to form their own government, to adopt and enforce laws, state laws do not apply in them, to establish taxes, to assign tribal status, to license and regulate almost all types of activities, etc. Tribal courts are active in most reservations. And law enforcement. Legally, Indian reservations have practically the same rights as the states of the United States. Just like the states, they cannot enter into official relations with other states, wage war and mint coins. The largest Indian tribes today are the Cherokee, about 310,000, the Navajo, about 280,000, the Sioux, 115, respectively, and the Chippewa, 113. Indian tribes now control about 2% of the territory of the United States. Reservations have been formed on these lands. Some reservations are limited to 1 acre, 4 square kilometers. More than a third of U.S. Indians now live on reservations, a third of them are located in Alaska. The average age of an Indian is 29.7 years, which is noticeably less than the age of the average American, 36.8 years. Indian families have more children than the U.S. average. At the same time, 66% of Americans and only 55% of Indians are residential property owners. Indian houses are much cheaper than the national average, $129.8 thousand versus $185.2 thousand. In 2009, 23.6% of Indians lived below the poverty line. The national average, this figure was 14.3%. Despite the fact that Native Americans enjoy significant incentives for admission to higher education and education for them, as a rule, free of charge, the level of education among Indians is extremely low. 28% of Americans have a college degree, compared with only 16% for Indians. According to long-standing statistics from the U.S. Department of Justice, American Indians are twice as likely as the rest of the United States to become victims of violent crime. There are many more alcohol and tobacco abusers among Indians than in the United States as a whole. Approximately 21% of Indians speak at home, not only in English, this figure is 20%. Today, there are 139 Indian languages in the United States, but more than half of them are endangered. 72% of American Indians do not speak any language other than English. Freedom of religion in the United States is stipulated in the Constitution. Only with respect to the Indians, a special law has been adopted, which allows them to freely practice their religious cults. The fact is that eagle feathers are required to perform most of the rituals, but eagle hunting is prohibited in the United States. An exception is made for Indians. Only tribal members can purchase eagle feathers, but they are prohibited from selling or transferring them to non-Indians. The term redskin originated among the British colonists who settled in New England. They were adjacent to the Beofax tribe, now it does not exist, whose warriors painted their bodies with ochre. Subsequently, the word red-skinned acquired a racial connotation, separating the Indians from the Europeans, Africans, and Asians. In 1992, a group of American Indians petitioned the United States Patent and Trademark Office to ban the use of the word red in the names of firms, sports teams, trademarks, etc., since red Indians should have the exclusive right to use the term. The appeal was rejected due to the fact that the term red-skinned could not be legally formulated. In 2004, the National Museum of the American Indian was opened in downtown Washington. Its building was designed by Indian architects. In 2005, the Massachusetts House of Representatives overturned the 330-year-old law. This law prohibited the Indians from visiting the city of Boston.